So raise your hand if this has ever happened to you. You just mention in passing to someone that, hey, I need dish soap. And all of a sudden, Zuck and Bezos behind the scenes go do their thing. And what do you see advertisements for at all times? Dish soap on Amazon, dish soap on Instagram, dish soap. It's like they think you are a dish soap connoisseur, like you are a dish soap fluencer. And so if you know anything about my career and what I do on a daily basis and what I'm talking about on a daily basis, obviously I get a lot of ads for a lot of insoles and orthotics. And Bezos finally got me this time. I finally saw enough ads for Amazon's most cushioned insole. I couldn't help it anymore. I had to see what it was about, especially as the advertisement goes, they have it rolled up like this and it looks like this super cushioned cloud. They finally got me to get a pair. Let's see if it's worth it for you to get one and if that's necessarily a good thing for your feet. Let's get into it. Okay, so the insoles in question here are the 4D cloud insoles. You see the bag they come in. The name is Insole. Nanogene multifunction insole, a good pair of insoles, save a pair of shoes. Now, if you look at them, it basically just looks like open cell polyurethane, just a very, very, very open pored polyurethane. Now, the one thing you'll notice on the bottom is it looks like, they're supposed to be clouds, and so it's a little bit of, marketing there on the bottom. Just, the product itself is kind of the advertisement. It does have all these holes in them, like kind of breathing channels and just kind of compression channels. And honestly, that is really nice, because remember, these are supposed to be insole replacements, right? They're supposed to replace the standard insole in your shoe. They are not saying that these are orthotics, right? Like actually have a structural arch under them. This is meant to be just a pair of foamers. And so the rules are a little bit different on these, right? An orthotic has some sort of function on your feet. An insole is just something to give you cushion on a shoe. And so a little bit of a different category there. Now these come in a couple versions, the standard, which is the one I got, and then the one that's supposed to give you some height in your shoe, right? They're actually supposed to be a heel lift. I didn't get that one because that's gonna make you slip out of your shoe. That's abnormal. I'm not gonna review those. I'm just gonna review the standard ones. Now, interestingly enough, these actually do have a heel to toe drop. So unlike a standard insole, which typically is flat, these are gonna actually change the pitch of your shoe. So if you're someone that doesn't want more drop in their shoe, that's gonna be an issue. The other thing is because they're so cushioned, because they have so much stack in them, they do make your shoes quite tight. I wore these in a pair of Gel Resolution 9 from Asics, which I have broken in very, very well. And man, I was fitting tight in that shoe. Even if I loosened up the laces, I was still slipping in them just because they add so much to the shoe across a lot of the insert until they get into the very bottom. And they've got these little outcroppings. It's hard to see on the camera up top, but they've got these little bubbles here in the forefoot. And these domes of foam were supposed to be like an acupressure type thing, like a massage thing on the bottom of your foot. And although for my particular foot, that was the case, I could feel it in the areas that they were trying to, the more distal arch and into your big toe. The thing is these are meant for men's size 11 to 13. They have a pretty wide range. And you can see on the bottom where you're supposed to cut them at the different areas for your feet. The one bad part about that is though, is that if you're on the edge of the size, this acupressure type thing or these massage bubbles are gonna hit your foot in all the wrong ways. So unlike just the standard insole where it's just a piece of foam, you can cut it to whatever you want. Because these things do have an arch to them, because they do have a drop to them, the ranges of size, and it's gonna be random for each one. Like I said, this one's supposed to be 11 through 13. Well, I'm an 11 and I fit them fine, but if you're a 13, probably would just want to bump up to the next size up. So you want to be on the bottom of the size range of these. Now, in terms of the foam, in terms of the tensiometer, it only takes 18 newtons to completely flatten that arch. So they are very, very soft. Now, they're supposed to be, right? They're supposed to be quote unquote 4D, whatever that means, cloud insoles. They are supposed to be nice and soft. Now on the bounce height test, they do get 23 centimeters of bounce height, which is actually some of the highest bounce height I've ever seen on an insole. The Xenon Cloud insoles get that, the Power Step Bridge get that with the eTPU foam. So a lot more the polyurethane type base foams, that's what they're getting. Thing is they're meant for shock absorption. The one thing is because they are so low density polyurethane, they are gonna feel pretty resilient, but yes, they do offer quite a bit of shock absorption. The thing is though, is because they are so thick, and because they've got so much foam in all these different places, it does push you into the shoe. And because then the shoe is pushing you against the orthotic then and you're just sinking into it, it can get a little uncomfortable, or if you're not in like a really wide open shoe. I did notice once I got out of these and just got into kind of like a regular shoe, my feet just felt so much better underfoot. And so you do need to put these in a shoe with a lot of room in them. Once you do that, they do feel better. These are the Vapor 9.5 Jordan 3 collab. And it felt better in those. I have the laces completely loosened in that. And so that did feel a lot better. And honestly, for someone like me with a really high arched foot, these bubbles, these foam bubbles in here, or these domes, whatever you want to call them, they actually did make the front part of my foot feel like it was purchasing the ground more, because I have a really big distal arch. Like my foot looks like this model, but the arch is more further toward the toes. And so I have a big kind of gap right here under a lot of my shoes. And this up here was actually really nice because it wasn't a ton of foam, but it kind of hit me in the right spots. It really felt like I was purchasing the ground a little bit more. So even for some proprioception, just some ground feel, this actually did pretty good for me. The problem is that did good for my foot. I have a weird shaped foot. And so it's not gonna be good for everybody. So if you kind of like that more acupressure type biofeedback type thing, honestly, it reminded me of the Nike Minds. That's what this reminded me of, only better executed, and these were $9. And so the big question, are these like max cushion insoles any good for your foot? The thing is max cushion can lead to increased foot fatigue because it takes more power to push through all that cushion to propulse you forward. So I'd say, flat, neutral, and high. For a neutral, they're okay. If you're someone that's overly flat, you're gonna want an orthotic, but having a flat foot doesn't preclude you. A high arch, if you have the right shoe, you can use them, but if you're in the wrong shoe, they're gonna be terrible. In terms of an ankle sprainer, the proprioception they give you, right, that little more biofeedback they give you is good, but being high off the ground is not. So I would just, to me, I'd say probably no. In terms of plantar fasciitis, thing is you might strain your fascia more, having to push harder into these than you would otherwise. They do have a little bit of an arch though, so it really is gonna be dealer's choice. To me, I wouldn't recommend them for Achilles tendonitis or plantar fasciitis because they're gonna allow abnormal motion. I'd say so you're better off with an orthotic. In terms of forefoot pain, now if you're a neutral foot, then I think they're okay. But if you're a flat or a high arch foot, they're gonna be an X, they're not gonna be good. In terms of arch pain, I don't really see them doing much, but I don't think they'll be bad, so I'd say they're okay. Big toe arthritis, absolutely not. Knee, hip, and back pain, I think they're gonna allow you to sink two in. And low volume shoes, absolutely not. You need a higher volume shoe. So if you're looking for a max cushioned insole, honestly, for $9, it's not the worst buy in the world. Like, it's not the worst impulse buy in the world. I can't believe I'm saying that. If you are looking for like an actual orthotic or actual like functional insole and you want something like this, the Reminds, the Readies, I was told it's actually Ready, not Reedy, but the Remind Readies are probably the ones I would go with. Yeah, they're more expensive, but they're gonna last you a lot longer. They're a lot more functional. The arch is a lot better on them. So that's really what I would go if you're actually looking for something more functional and that can fit into a lot more shoes. So love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Like I said, don't expect them to be an orthotic, don't expect them to be a functional device, but for what they are super interesting. And like I said, we're starting to see so many more of these where it's like super cheap insoles, and some of them do have some interesting niche things. I was surprised, honestly, at how much I like certain aspects of them. Am I gonna use them again? No. I'd rather just have something more thin in there in a shoe. Like I said, I did like the domes, but am I gonna use them again? Probably not, but there's some of you out there that actually might like this. So like I said, love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. If you do wanna see what I'm talking about with the Remind insoles and what I think are the best shock absorbing insoles on the market right now, I'll leave that video linked right here. I'll see you in the next one.